How many times have you woken up in the morning filled with excitement, filled with the burning fire of new ambition? You feel unstoppable. You are ready to conquer the world. And yet 3 days later, the fire turns to ashes. The excitement fades. The ambition crumbles. And once again, you find yourself trapped in the same old routines, disappointed, frustrated, defeated. Why does this happen? Is it because you are weak? Is it because you are not good enough? No. It happens because you have been taught the wrong lesson. You have been taught to worship motivation, to chase after inspiration, to wait for a magical moment when you feel like it. But listen carefully. Motivation is a liar. Motivation is cheap. Motivation is fleeting. Motivation is a drug, and like all drugs, its effects wear off. It seduces you with promises of glory and abandons you the moment the hard work begins. Success does not belong to those who are motivated once in a while. Success belongs to those who are disciplined every single day. Discipline does not ask you how you feel. Discipline does not care if you are tired. Discipline does not wait for the perfect moment. Discipline acts. Discipline moves. Discipline marches on with or without your permission. And that, my friend, is the truth that separates the dreamers from the doers. That is the line that divides the average from the extraordinary. That is the iron law that governs all greatness. You see, a man who depends on motivation is like a leaf blown by the wind. He is at the mercy of his emotions, his moods, his environment. But a man of discipline, he is like a mountain, unshaken, unmovable, untouchable. Motivation might get you started. It might lift you off the ground for a moment. But discipline is the engine that will carry you across deserts, through storms, over mountains. Discipline is the steel backbone of every empire ever built. Discipline is the silent architect behind every victory ever won. When Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times to invent the light bulb, do you think he was motivated every day? When Henry Ford faced bankruptcy, ridicule, and betrayal, do you believe he was inspired every morning? No. They were disciplined. They acted whether they felt like it or not. They persisted whether they saw results or not. They endured whether the world praised them or cursed them, because they understood one eternal truth. Feelings are not facts. Emotions are not destiny. Commitment must override emotion, and discipline must rule over desire. This is the foundation upon which all success is built, not the fireworks of motivation, not the rush of temporary excitement, but the cold, hard, relentless hammering of disciplined action day after day after day. And so I ask you today, with all the urgency of a man speaking to your very soul, will you continue to live as a slave to your emotions? Or will you rise up? Will you declare sovereignty over yourself? Will you forge the iron chain of discipline that no storm, no failure, no fear can ever break? You have a choice, right here, right now. A choice that will echo through every corner of your future. Motivation is easy. Discipline is rare. Motivation feels good. Discipline builds greatness. And remember this truth, as long as you live, the man who conquers himself conquers the world. Now let us go deeper. Let us tear apart the myths. Let us build the unbreakable foundation upon which you will rise. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Because discipline does not wait, and neither should you. What is motivation? It is a spark, a flash of lightning across a dark sky. It is powerful, but it is temporary. It comes without warning, and it leaves without explanation. Motivation is based on feelings, and feelings are the most unreliable compass you could ever follow. One moment you feel excited, invincible, ready to climb mountains. The next, you feel tired, doubtful, defeated by the smallest obstacle. If your life is built on motivation, then your life will rise and fall like the waves of the sea. You will start many things. You will finish very few, because motivation whispers, move when you feel ready. Discipline commands, move whether you feel ready or not. Now, what is discipline? Discipline is the mastery of self. Discipline is the ability to act according to your plan, not according to your mood. Discipline is the quiet voice that says, do it anyway, when every part of you wants to quit. Discipline does not scream. Discipline does not beg. It does not require applause or approval. It simply moves. It simply does. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation is born from inspiration. Discipline is forged from commitment. Motivation is about feeling good. Discipline is about doing good. And here's the great paradox. If you chase motivation, you will never be consistent. But if you embrace discipline, you will create your own motivation. Yes, discipline breeds motivation, not the other way around. When you act with discipline, when you show up again and again, even when it is hard, even when it is boring, even when it is lonely, you build momentum, and momentum feeds motivation. It is not the feeling that leads to action. It is the action that leads to feeling. Remember this well, the man who waits for motivation waits forever. The man who masters discipline commands his destiny. Every successful man and woman you admire has learned this lesson. They do not sit around waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect feeling. They act, they move, they build, and eventually the world moves to their rhythm. The world bows to their will, because the world does not reward the most inspired, it rewards the most relentless. The world does not crown the most excited, it crowns the most disciplined. Discipline is the great equalizer. You may not be the smartest, you may not be the strongest, you may not have the most resources, but if you are the most disciplined, you will outlast, you will outwork, you will outshine, and in the end, you will win. Now, let us go deeper still. Let us expose why motivation is never enough, and why discipline is the only force powerful enough to transform your life forever. If motivation were enough, there would be no unfinished books, no abandoned diets, no broken dreams. If motivation were enough, the world would be overflowing with millionaires, with champions, with visionaries. But look around you. Look at the millions who start with excitement and finish with regret. Look at the countless dreams that die, not because the dreamer lacked passion, but because the dreamer lacked discipline. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings lie. Feelings tell you that the hard work can wait. Feelings tell you that you deserve to rest today. Feelings tell you that you are too tired, too busy, too stressed, too afraid. If you listen to feelings, you become a servant to your moods. You live at the mercy of whatever wind happens to blow through your heart that day. But discipline is truth. Discipline is loyalty to your vision, even when your emotions betray you. Discipline says, I move because I decided to move. Discipline says, I keep my promise, especially when it's hard. That is why discipline is the mother of success. Because success is not a single event. It is the accumulation of hundreds, thousands, millions of tiny victories. One quietly, one stubbornly, one day after day through the sheer force of discipline. Think of the tallest mountain, think of the deepest river. They were not created by sudden explosions. They were shaped over time by persistent forces, by the steady carving of wind, by the relentless flowing of water. And so, it is with greatness, not born in a burst of passion, forged in the fires of repetition. The man who writes a book does not sit down and vomit out a masterpiece in one night of inspiration. He writes a little every day, even on the days he does not feel like it. The woman who builds a fortune does not win the lottery. She saves, she invests, she learns, she fails. She adjusts relentlessly, consistently, tirelessly. The athlete who becomes a champion does not depend on the mood of the day. He trains through injuries. He trains through boredom. He trains through exhaustion. Because he understands that greatness is not an accident. It is a habit. Motivation starts the race. Discipline finishes it. Now let me tell you a truth that few dare to say. You will not always love your work. You will not always feel inspired. You will not always be excited. There will be days when you feel like quitting. There will be days when the goal seems too far, too heavy, too impossible. There will be mornings when you wake up and everything inside you screams, stay in bed. And it is in those moments, those brutal, lonely moments, that your destiny is decided. Not in the moments of excitement, not in the moments of applause, but in the silent moments of struggle. The question is not, can you move when you are motivated? Anyone can do that. The real question is, can you move when you are tired? When you are scared? When you are broken? Can you move without the applause? Can you move without the feeling? Can you move without the certainty? Because that is what separates the winners from the watchers. That is what divides the legends from the forgotten. And here's a secret you must engrave into your soul. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes. Discipline is a muscle. It grows with use, it strengthens with resistance. Each time you act despite discomfort, Each time you choose commitment over convenience, each time you honor your word over your feelings, you forge a new layer of strength within yourself, until one day, you no longer wait for inspiration. You no longer ask permission from your emotions. You no longer hesitate or doubt. You simply act, you simply build, you simply win. Not because you feel like it, but because you are the kind of person who does. That is the true secret of the champions. That is the final weapon of the conquerors. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not even motivation. It is the silent, stubborn, relentless discipline of doing the hard thing over and over and over until the hard thing becomes the easy thing, until excellence becomes your new normal, until greatness becomes your natural state. And so I ask you now, do you want to live at the mercy of your feelings, or do you want to live at the command of your will? Do you want to float through life, or do you want to carve your name into history? Because the choice is yours, and the clock is ticking. Discipline waits for no one. Neither should you. If discipline is the bridge to success, then what are the thieves that tear down that bridge? What are the silent enemies that creep into your mind and destroy everything you have built? There are three, and they are ruthless. They are deadly. They are masters of disguise. You must know them. You must name them. You must defeat them, or they will defeat you. The first enemy is procrastination. Procrastination is not laziness. It is a lie, a sweet, poisonous lie. It whispers, not today. Tomorrow will be better. You're not ready yet. Just wait a little longer. It's okay to rest, you've earned it, and so you wait, and you wait, and you wait until tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year, and one day, you wake up and realize you have run out of tomorrows. The graveyards of the world are filled with people who had great plans, great dreams, great intentions. But they waited just a little too long. Procrastination is the assassin of greatness. It is the quiet thief of dreams. The cure, immediate action. Do not wait until you feel ready. Do not wait until the stars align. Do not wait for permission. Move now. Act now. Build now. Because the future is promised to no one. An opportunity does not knock twice. The second enemy is emotional reasoning. This is the silent killer of discipline. It is the habit of making decisions based on feelings, not facts. You feel tired, so you skip the workout. You feel overwhelmed, so you abandon the project. You feel afraid, so you don't make the call and you justify it. You tell yourself stories. You convince yourself it was the right thing to do, but the truth remains. You allowed feelings to dictate your future. Understand this. Your emotions are real, but they are not always right. Your emotions are important, but they are not always wise. If you obey your emotions, you become a slave to the moment. If you obey your mission, you become the master of your destiny. The cure principle over feelings. Make a vow to yourself. I will do what I committed to do, not what I feel like doing. Let your commitments drive your actions, not your cravings. Let your vision control your behavior, not your moods. The third enemy is perfectionism. Ah yes, the prettiest of all the demons. It wears a beautiful mask. It disguises itself as high standards, as excellence, as nobility. But at its heart, perfectionism is fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. Perfectionism paralyzes you. It convinces you that unless you can do it perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. And so you never begin, or you begin and never finish. You spend your life preparing, polishing, planning, but never producing. Understand this. Perfection does not exist. There is only progress. There is only persistence. You will never feel ready. You will never be perfect. You will never have all the answers. And that is exactly why you must move anyway. The cure progress over perfection. Small steps, messy action, constant improvement. Because it is better to stumble forward than to stand still in fear. Better an imperfect start than a perfect hesitation. Better a flawed masterpiece than a flawless dream. Now listen to me carefully. Procrastination will kill your momentum. Emotional reasoning will kill your commitment. Perfectionism will kill your courage. Together they are an unholy trinity. Together they have destroyed more dreams than any outside enemy ever could. But you have the power to defeat them by acting now, by honoring your commitments over your emotions, by choosing progress over perfection. Every time you resist these enemies, you strengthen your will. You forge your character. You build the inner steel that nothing and no one can break. Discipline is not a gift you are given. It is a sword you forge with blood, sweat, and endless small battles. And every day, every moment, you must choose victory or defeat. There is no neutral ground. The clock is ticking. The battle is raging. Which side will you stand on? If discipline is the bridge to success, then how do we build that bridge? How do we forge the kind of iron will that moves mountains, that bends destiny, that reshapes history? It is not by accident, it is not by hope, it is not by luck. Discipline is built by design, and the blueprint is simple but not easy. The first pillar of unbreakable discipline is a definite chief aim. You must know what you want exactly, precisely, unmistakably. You must carve your goal into your mind so deeply that no distraction, no doubt, no difficulty can erase it. Vague wishes produce vague results, clear aims produce clear victories. Napoleon Hill said it best in Think and Grow Rich. There is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants, and a burning desire to possess it. Not a casual hope, not a weak wish. A burning desire, a fire so fierce it consumes every excuse, every obstacle, every fear. Write down your definite chief aim. Read it aloud every morning, every night, until it burns itself into your subconscious. Because when the mind is saturated with purpose, the body obeys without question. The second pillar is autosuggestion. What you tell yourself, you become. The words you repeat become the bricks of your destiny. You must flood your mind daily with the thoughts, the images, the affirmations that align with your vision. Not once, not twice, but relentlessly, repetitively, religiously. You are not merely wishing success into existence. You are commanding your subconscious to build the internal structures necessary for success. Speak life over yourself. Speak strength into your soul. Speak discipline into your bones. The third pillar is micro-habits. Do not attempt to move mountains in a single day. Do not attempt to rewrite your destiny overnight. Greatness is not built by giant leaps. It is built by tiny steps, repeated endlessly. One page written, one workout completed, one call made, one choice honored. It is the small disciplines that compound into massive victories. You do not need to be extraordinary every day. You need only to be consistent. A river cuts through rock, not by power, but by persistence. Choose your micro-habits carefully. Guard them fiercely, honor them daily. The fourth pillar is tracking and accountability. What gets measured gets mastered. What gets ignored gets lost. Track your habits, track your promises, track your victories. Hold yourself accountable ruthlessly, relentlessly. Do not negotiate with yourself. Do not tolerate your own excuses. Be your own toughest coach. Be your own fiercest advocate. And if you need more fuel, enlist allies. Find partners who will not coddle your weakness, but sharpen your strength. Accountability is not punishment, it is empowerment. The fifth and final pillar is relentless restart. You will fail. You will fall. You will slip. That is not the question. The question is, will you get back up? Will you recommit faster than you fell? Will you restart without hesitation, without shame, without excuse? Champions are not those who never fail. Champions are those who fail forward, fail faster and fail fiercer. Every stumble is a sharpening stone. Every setback is a training ground. Every defeat is an invitation to rise stronger. You are not defeated until you decide you are. And as long as you rise one more time than you fall, you are still in the fight. Understand this. The road to unbreakable discipline is not straight. It is not clean. It is not easy. It is messy. It is bloody. It is hard, but it is worth it. It is always, always worth it. Because when you build that discipline, real discipline, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who does not need to wait for the right feeling, the right weather, the right circumstance. You become the kind of person who moves mountains, who breaks barriers, who creates miracles. And the world bows not to the most talented, but to the most disciplined. Now you know the path. Now you know the method. Now you hold the blueprint. The only question that remains is, will you build? Will you forge the discipline that will make you unbreakable, unstoppable, undeniable? The hammer is in your hands. The fire is burning. Start forging. Start now. Imagine this. The year is 1896. In a small workshop in Detroit, Michigan, a man toils late into the night. Sweat drips from his brow. His hands, rough and calloused, work tirelessly over strange metal parts, over gears, over levers. His name is Henry Ford. At that time, automobiles were a fantasy, a wild idea, a machine without horses, impossible, laughable. The newspapers mocked it. The public scorned it. Even the so-called experts of transportation dismissed it as foolishness. But Henry Ford, he saw what others could not see, he dreamed what others dared not dream, and more importantly, he worked, he built, he failed again and again and again. His first car, the quadricycle, barely ran. The steering was a disaster. The brakes were dangerous. The entire thing shook like a dying animal on wheels. When he showed it to the public, they laughed in his face. They called it a toy, a novelty, a waste of time. He could have quit. He could have walked away. He could have said, maybe they are right, but he didn't. Because Ford understood something that most people never grasp. It is not the applause that builds success. It is the discipline to continue when no one believes in you, when no one claps for you, when no one even notices you. Henry Ford failed in his first automobile company, and in his second, he lost investors. He lost partners. He lost friends, but he never lost one thing: his commitment. He kept refining. He kept improving. He kept showing up day after day, night after night. He turned failures into blueprints. He turned ridicule into fuel. He turned obstacles into stepping stones. And finally, after years of obscurity, years of rejection, years of relentless discipline, the Ford Motor Company was born. But even then, even after launching his company, the storms did not end. Ford faced strikes. He faced lawsuits. He faced sabotage. He faced the disbelief of a world not ready for the revolution he was about to unleash, but he remained unmoved. He kept working. He kept building. He kept believing. And because of that stubborn, relentless discipline, he didn't just build a car. He built an industry. He didn't just create a machine. He created an era. He put America and eventually the world on wheels. He democratized transportation. He turned the impossible into the inevitable, all because he understood one eternal truth. Success does not belong to the most popular. It does not belong to the most talented. It does not belong to the most inspired. It belongs to the most disciplined. Henry Ford did not wait for the world to approve of him. He did not beg for motivation to strike. He created his own path, step by bloody step, mile by mile, year by year. And so can you. You may not have the applause today. You may not have the results yet. You may be laughed at. You may be doubted. You may even be ridiculed. Good, that is the fire that forges true greatness. Do not curse the struggle. Bless it. Do not flee from the battle. Fight it. Because every hour you endure, every day you persist, every obstacle you overcome is another brick in the fortress of your destiny. Henry Ford built his empire not on dreams, but on discipline, and so must you. Do not wait for the world to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Create your own momentum. Because one day, if you refuse to quit, if you refuse to bow to fear, if you refuse to betray your own mission, you will stand where few have stood. You will look back, not with regret, but with pride. You will see that every step, every sacrifice, every act of discipline was worth it. And the world, the very world that once laughed at you, will stand in awe, just as they once stood in awe of a man named Henry Ford. There is a silent force at work in your life, a force more powerful than motivation, more relentless than emotion, more enduring than willpower. Napoleon Hill called it the cosmic habit force. It is the law that governs the universe of human behavior. It is the unseen hand that shapes destinies. It is the force that either binds you to mediocrity or lifts you into greatness. Most people live their entire lives unaware of it. They wonder why they keep falling into the same patterns. They wonder why change is so difficult. They wonder why dreams slip through their fingers like sand. The answer is simple. Habits rule all. Not intentions, not wishes, not fleeting desires. Habits, the invisible rituals you perform daily, are the architects of your fate. Cosmic habit force operates like gravity. It does not care who you are. It does not care whether you understand it. It does not care whether you believe in it. It simply acts. Whatever thoughts you think consistently, whatever behaviors you repeat daily, whatever attitudes you nurture and protect become etched into the very fibers of your being, good or bad, helpful or harmful, uplifting or destructive. The law does not judge, it only enforces. If you plant seeds of procrastination, you harvest fields of regret. If you plant seeds of discipline, you harvest forests of success. Your subconscious mind, that mighty silent engine, takes whatever instructions you give it and turns them into automatic patterns. It is a loyal servant, it is a merciless master. Feed it weakness, and you will become weak. Feed it excuses, and you will become excuse-driven. Feed it fear, and you will live a life of hesitation and doubt. But feed it strength, feed it courage, feed it discipline, and it will turn you into a force of nature. You must understand, every thought matters, every action matters, every choice matters. Nothing is neutral. Everything you do is either forging chains that bind you or forging wings that lift you. There is no standing still. Every morning you hit the snooze button. Every time you skip the workout, every moment you break your word to yourself, you are digging a groove deeper and deeper into your mind. A groove that will trap you if you let it. But every time you show up when it's hard, every time you keep your promise when it's painful, every time you take the next step when you feel like quitting, you carve a new path. A path that leads to mastery. A path that leads to freedom. Cosmic habit force is neutral, but you are not. You are the creator. You are the commander. By conscious, relentless repetition, you can seize control of this mighty force and bend it to your will. You can program your mind for greatness. You can automate success. You can turn discipline into instinct. You can turn excellence into habit. And when that happens, when right action becomes as natural to you as breathing, then success is no longer a battle. It is inevitable. Imagine waking up every day driven by a force so strong, so natural, so automatic, that you no longer need to fight yourself. You no longer need to struggle to do what's right. It simply becomes who you are. That is the power of cosmic habit force. That is the destiny that awaits you if you choose it. But make no mistake, it is a choice. Every thought you entertain, every habit you allow, every behavior you repeat is a vote for the person you are becoming. What are you voting for today? Who are you building today? The laws of the mind are not cruel, they are just. They reward those who honor them. They punish those who ignore them. You cannot cheat the law. You cannot skip the process, but you can master it. You can ride it like a mighty current that carries you toward your destiny. It begins with a thought, it continues with a choice. It is solidified with relentless repetition, thought by thought, action by action, day by day. Until one day you no longer have to think about it. You no longer have to force yourself. You have become the embodiment of discipline itself. You have become unstoppable. Now the question remains, will you use the cosmic habit force to chain yourself to mediocrity or to catapult yourself into greatness? The power is yours. It has always been yours. The time to seize it is now. It is not enough to know. It is not enough to understand. It is not enough to feel inspired. Knowledge without action is worthless. Dreams without execution are dead. Now is the time to move. Now is the time to act. If you want to build unbreakable discipline, if you want to seize control of your destiny, you must have a plan, a simple, powerful, relentless plan. And you must begin today. Here's your strategy. 5 simple steps. 1 powerful transformation. Step 1, choose your one thing. Not 10 things, not a dozen scattered goals. One thing. The single most important habit, action, or project that would create the greatest impact in your life right now. It could be building your business. It could be mastering your health. It could be writing your book. Whatever it is, it must matter. It must burn. It must pull you forward. Without focus, there is no power. Without clarity, there is no discipline. Step 2, define your daily standard. Not a dream, not a hope. A standard. What action will you take every single day, no matter what? It must be clear. It must be measurable. It must be non-negotiable. For example, write 500 words a day. Train for 45 minutes a day. Make 10 sales calls a day. Not when I feel like it. Not when it's convenient. Every day. No excuses, no exceptions. Your standard is your sword. Sharpen it, wield it. Step 3, Make it obvious and inevitable. You must engineer your environment for success. You must remove friction. You must eliminate excuses before they arise. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Set an alarm to remind you of your writing time. Turn off distractions. Make the right action, the easy action. Do not trust your willpower. Trust your systems. The easier it is to start, the harder it is to stop. Step 4. Track relentlessly every day. Mark the victory, not in your mind. On paper, on a calendar, on a chart. Create a visual chain of success, a chain you refuse to break. Track your actions, not your feelings. Track your efforts, not your excuses. Because what you measure, you magnify. What you measure, you master. Missing one day is an accident. Missing 2 days is a pattern. Missing 3 days is the beginning of the end. Guard your streak like a treasure. Protect it, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Step 5. Recommit every morning. Discipline is not built once. It is built daily every morning. Renew your vow. Every morning sharpen your resolve. Every morning declare, today I honor my standard. Today I move no matter what. Your dreams are not one grand decision. They are 1,000 small ones, made and remade day after day. Victory belongs to the man who recommits faster than he forgets. Now hear this. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, and there will be days when you feel broken. There will be days when the world seems to conspire against you, and days when even getting out of bed feels like climbing Everest. But none of that matters because you are not driven by feelings anymore. You are driven by decision. You are driven by commitment. You are driven by destiny. You do not act because you feel like it. You act because you said you would. You act because you are a builder. You are a warrior. You are a master of yourself. And every time you keep your word to yourself, especially when it hurts, especially when it costs you, especially when no one is watching you forge a new layer of strength inside you, you become harder to break. You become harder to stop. You become inevitable. And when you are inevitable, success is no longer a question of if, it is only a question of when. So begin today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Choose your one thing. Define your daily standard. Engineer your environment. Track relentlessly. Recommit every morning. This is your battle plan. This is your weapon. This is your crown. Seize it, wield it, own it. Because discipline does not wait. Success does not wait. Destiny does not wait. Neither should you. Now you stand at a crossroads. 2 paths stretch before you. One is wide, one is easy. One is crowded with the millions who drift through life led by emotion, driven by whim, waiting for permission, waiting for motivation that never comes. They dream, they talk, they hope, and they die with their music still inside them. The other path is narrow, it is steep, it is lonely. It is the path of discipline, the path where you move when you do not feel like it, where you rise when you have every excuse to stay down, where you act with power, with purpose, with unrelenting force day after day, year after year. And in the end, it is the path that leads to greatness. Understand this. You are not entitled to success. You are not owed fulfillment. You are not guaranteed anything. You must fight for it. You must bleed for it. You must build it with your own 2 hands. You must choose discipline over comfort, commitment over convenience, purpose over pleasure, vision over emotion. Because the truth is brutal. Success is reserved for those who refuse to betray themselves. Success is reserved for those who honor their word even when it hurts. Success is reserved for those who do not run from pain but rise through it. Life will test you. Life will batter you. Life will knock you down again and again. But if you keep standing, if you keep moving, if you keep choosing discipline over weakness, then no force on earth can deny you. Because nothing is stronger than a made-up mind. The world does not need more dreamers. The world does not need more talkers. The world needs more builders. The world needs more warriors. The world needs more disciplined souls who say, I will, I must, I do. You have that power inside you. Right now in this moment, it has always been there. Waiting, sleeping, longing to be awakened. The hammer is in your hand. The fire is burning in your chest. The battlefield is before you. Now it is time to act. No more waiting. No more wishing. No more doubting. Choose discipline, choose greatness, choose destiny. Not tomorrow, not someday today. Right here, right now. Because your future, your freedom, your legacy, they're waiting on the other side of one decision. The decision to become unstoppable, the decision to become undeniable, the decision to become the master of yourself. And when you make that decision, truly make it, the world will move aside. Because nothing can stand in the way of a soul set on fire by purpose, forged by discipline and destined for glory. The choice is yours. Make it now.